everybody, it's JT Sports, and I'm back to you guys with another video. And I'm just going to be talking about the 3 rookie quarterbacks who I've been keeping my eye on this whole entire preseason so far. So, Daniel Jones, Kyler Murray, and Dwayne Haskins. So, Daniel Jones, I want to talk about him first. He has been very, very impressive to me in the preseason. And I've been telling people for a very long time since he got drafted, even though this is preseason, even before the preseason started, right? Been telling people, Daniel Jones is going to end up being a pretty good quarterback in the NFL. He might not be an elite quarterback, but I don't think he's going to be a bad quarterback. I think he's going to be a pretty solid quarterback at the NFL level. A lot of people just think he's trash and things like that. And the thing is, he won at Duke. Duke hasn't been relevant since, 2000 and... I think it was 13 was when Duke went to the ACC championship game versus the Florida State Seminoles and got absolutely destroyed. I think their starting quarterback was somebody named Boone, I believe. So that's the last time Duke has been relevant in the college football landscape. Now we go back to the previous college football season. Daniel Jones was a big part of the reason why Duke was so successful last season. Now, I know they didn't win anything major or anything like that, but he was a pretty doggone good quarterback for Duke, considering the fact that this guy didn't really have any NFL wide receivers around him, no NFL talent around him. I think he did pretty good. And so far this preseason, he has looked very impressive, and he's actually looked more consistent than a couple of these other guys. Week 1 versus the New York Jets. Didn't really play a lot, but he went 5 for 5, 67 passing yards, 1 touchdown. So we got a small sample size of him in that New York Jets game. Now, a lot of people still weren't really sold. So, a couple of days ago against Chicago Bears, week 2, he went 11 to 14, 161 passing yards, 1 touchdown. I thought he was pretty solid that game. Now, I know it's just preseason, and I know you got to take each one of these things with a grain of salt since it's preseason. He's not playing against any starters or whatnot. He's not facing a lot of blitzes and a lot of exotic looks and things like that. But you gotta give the guy props, right? Because here's the thing, right? People, if Daniel Jones does well in the preseason, oh, it's preseason, it doesn't mean anything. It's just preseason. He's not playing no starters. He ain't doing blah, blah, blah. But if Daniel Jones was to stink it up in the next couple of preseason games, oh, Daniel Jones sucks. It's preseason. This guy looks awful. You see, that it's unfair. Daniel Jones, it seems like the guy can't win. You feel me? If he does good, it's a preseason. If he does bad, oh, he's not a good quarterback. If you can't do good in the preseason, what makes you think you're going to do good in the regular season? So it's like, it's a he can't win situation. But so far, Daniel Jones to me has looked very impressive. Now, will he start week 1? I don't know. The arguments are 50-50. Some people say start him week 1. If he's better than Eli, go ahead and start Eli. But a lot of people, some people, the other 50, say that don't start Daniel Jones. If you put him in the fire too early and he doesn't do good, then the fan base is going to go back to turn against him. So you want Eli Manning to go ahead and be Eli Manning, and then maybe he stinks it up, and then the fan base is rooting for Daniel Jones to get put in. Then you got the fan base on Daniel Jones' side. So it's two varying arguments for why Daniel Jones should start and why he shouldn't start. But for me so far, the main thing is he's looked very impressive to me in the preseason. I don't care if it's preseason. He still looked very good to me. Now I'm going to talk about Kyler Murray. Now Kyler Murray, he's the starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals without debate, no debate about it. Not really a position battle there. But he's looked, week 1, he looked very good. Against the LA Chargers, he went 6 to 7, 44 passing yards. He really went 7 to 7, but one of the incompletions wasn't really his fault. But he looked very impressive in that game versus the LA Chargers. A lot of the routes they ran, he threw a lot of good throws, showed a lot of anticipation, showed off some arm strength as well. He's basically what we thought he would be. Very good, very strong arm. And then week 2 versus the Oakland Raiders, 3 of 8. 12 passing yards and got sacked twice. And me, I'm not really concerned that much about it. A lot of people are a little bit concerned because a lot of people consider Oakland's defense not being that good, really, although they are a little bit improved. But a lot of people are a little bit skeptical about that performance, going 3 of 8, 12 passing yards against a defense like the Oakland Raiders. Not really going to put too much stock in that. So far, Kyler Murray, I've liked what I've seen out of Kyler Murray. Now, we haven't really seen a lot of the Cliff Kingsbury offense, really. We haven't seen it full-blown. When the regular season comes around, I think Kyler Murray is going to end up winning Rookie of the Year. He's just looked very impressive. Although that Oakland Raiders game doesn't really stick out to you, Kyler Murray has been very solid this offseason. He hasn't really did anything that makes you point like, oh, he shouldn't be a starting QB or anything like that. So he's been really solid. So not really much to talk about him, really. It's just a matter of how much confidence will he have in himself by the time the regular season comes around. That's what I'm looking at, like a guy like Kyler Murray. Can he get some more confidence throughout the preseason going into the regular season? Then, the last guy I want to talk about Dwayne Haskins. Now, Dwayne Haskins has had, unlike the 2 quarterbacks that I've just talked about, he's been pretty up and down. So versus the Cleveland Browns, 8 of 14, 117 passing yards through 2 interceptions. He did not look good. He showed a little bit of flashes. He showed that he had a strong arm. He was very hard to bring down in the pocket because of how big he is. But I mean, you can kind of see why he kind of went from a projected top 10 pick and why he went to the Washington Redskins later on in like mid in the first round. The decision making was a little bit questionable in that game. It was a little bit shaky. But overall, I still like what I saw out of Dwayne Haskins. Because here's the thing. Dwayne Haskins has a strong arm. He's a big quarterback for a very big arm. And when you look at these quarterbacks who are very big and have strong arms, they're going to tend to take more chances than usual. They're gunslingers. That's what they do. They're aggressive. They like to force the ball into tight situations. They just like to push the ball very aggressively versus a guy like a Kyler Murray and a Daniel Jones. So, with those 2 interceptions in that Week 1 matchup versus the Browns, I didn't really hang my hat on that too much because that's what I expected from a guy like Dwayne Haskins. He's big, has a strong arm, and that's what big, strong arm quarterbacks do in the NFL. They take more chances than usual. So, with those 2 interceptions, I'm not really worried about. He had a bounce-back performance versus the Cincinnati Bengals. He completed 7 of 14 out of his passes, had 1 touchdown, but he got sacked 3 times. So, that's a little bit of a concern there. And the Washington Redskins offensive line is a big concern. My Washington Redskins insider was talking about it. He still doesn't really have a lot of confidence in it, but he did say that he likes what he's seen out of Dwayne Haskins. He does like a franchise quarterback, but for right now, he probably will not be starting Week 1. So, it remains to be seen. Will Colt McCoy start Week 1? Will Case Keenum start Week 1? Nobody really knows. But my Washington Redskins insider says he wouldn't be surprised if Dwayne Haskins ended up getting some playing time later on down the season. Probably around Week 10 or Week 11 is when we could see some more of Dwayne Haskins. And maybe he gets his first start there. But overall, these rookie quarterbacks so far have been pretty solid. Now, Dwayne Haskins, a little bit up and down, but he's a big, strong arm quarterback. That's what strong arm quarterbacks do. They take a lot of chances. They normally have a lot of interceptions and things like that. But that's what strong arm quarterbacks do. They're very aggressive. And then Daniel Jones remains to be seen. Can he keep up his good play in the preseason? And can he end up being the starting quarterback Week 1? And Kyler Murray, how much confidence is he going to have going into that Week 1 matchup versus this Detroit Lions defense, which looks to be very good on paper? That Detroit Lions team is going to be very good. And also, how's his offensive line going to hold up? So, all 3 of these quarterbacks so far have looked very impressive to me. Nobody really has had any bad performances that made me go, oh, Jesus, man, Jesus. They made a mistake drafting this guy. This guy was like an absolute bust. None of these quarterbacks have played that bad. None of these quarterbacks, in my opinion, have really played that bad at all. Even Dwayne Haskins with the 2 interceptions, I don't think that he played that bad because he's a gunslinger quarterback. He's a big, strong arm kid. That's what they do. They tend to force the ball more than you want out of a guy like a Daniel Jones and a Kyler Murray. But that's what they do. They're gunslingers. They're big. And they like to take chances. So I'm not really going to hang my hat on Dwayne Haskins doing that. So all three of these quarterbacks have looked very well to me. So this is it for this video. Just wanting to talk about all three of these quarterbacks. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.